So we're currently taking a look at Toto's account. He wants to know how to progress further. He's currently around averaging 100 to about 60, getting in that range. And he's in the moment around World 4, as he already has an elite class. He's pushing to World 5, wondering if he can make it to maybe World 6. But we're going to go over, take a look at his count, see what he can potentially work on. But right off the get-go, instantly, Toto, Giga Chad, you know why? My man's got a Megalodon, all right? He's instantly S tier, all right? He took the time, he farmed out the Megalodon, and also, he was a speedrun enjoyer. By the way, Chad, if you haven't watched my World 1 to World 4 free-to-play speedrun, I suggest you take a look at my main channel. Let's take a look here. Let's see if his skills, I mean, obviously, let's take a look at the equipment, see how he's doing for gear. So he's got his, so he's got his Amrock pieces, he's got his serrated Rex rings, he's got his Tarandulites, Camrock pendants, glacial weapons. All this is looking great. I would suggest changing out the Pugilist Demises, to be honest. He's got the keychains, he does what he has. He's rolling with what he got. Excuse me, sorry. I would say probably working on towards getting everybody iron tools. Now, the real key thing that a lot of people really sleep on is you want all your characters to accumulate together. You don't want to just hard focus on one character. You want to be able to have everybody grow up as one. You want to definitely replace the rest of the Pugilist Demise, the Iron Rings. You want to go serrated. Get rid of the Elf Rings. I notice you've been doing the hand-me-down strat. It seems to look like that. But definitely finish off getting your weapons. Get your glacial weapons for the rest of your characters. Definitely going to be huge. Iron tools for the stat sticks. Also, if you're running to an accuracy issue, you want to run your upgrade stones for like World 4 upgrade stones, or World with your armor, your tools, and your weapons. If you really want, you can make them so they are going for your accuracy stat. So for instance, for a warrior, you could make it so all your stats go into wisdom. So then they have an easier time, so you don't have to worry so much on shaccuracy. And also make shaccuracy just that much more potent. So I definitely suggest working on that. Obviously, for the most part, you're looking pretty good. Your serrated Rex rings. And then once you start hitting like 120, this is where you're going to start working into tenacity rings around that area. Megalodon looking fantastic. You love that, dude. And then if you can, I would try to get inflatable gloves. If not, a Celtic Ordeals with these. You're going to have a kind of a rough time pushing with the was that a V-Man? No, you don't even have Maestro yet. Okay, you should work on getting Maestro. I think it's the time to work on Maestro. I want to definitely work on Maestro, get that going. I think he's ready to start unlocking. And then your next for no matter what, elite classes. All your characters should have elite classes ASAP. Even if you have to swap your gear down to the other people, I'd strongly suggest for you to work on getting your elite classes ASAP for everybody. It's just one thing that you can just get it done, and then everybody gets a little bit of levels as they go to Demon Genies. And if you have really good gear on somebody else, put it onto somebody else to get them going. Obviously, Obels are probably not going to be a thing right now. Currently free-to-play player, so I mean, you got a killer roll on your Amrock, though. Yeah, your Amrock is juiced for your build. Well, that's good. Okay, so your cards are a little bit all over the place, but you're not quite ready for card farming. I would say you're close to card farming. Said close to start card farming. Like the specific ones, like the ones that would help the most is Gigafrogs, Snellbees, Surstashes, up to 3-star, if you can. Once you start getting your dimensional wormhole cooking with your elemental sorcerer, I should say. Yo, Tartan, thank you for the 5 months. Sorry, there's just not alerts going on right now because I'm currently doing an IE review, or a toolbox review, I should say. But thank you, dude. Appreciate the support. And I mean, your skills are looking a little lackluster a little bit. You just definitely want to work on your skilling. Skilling is going to be a huge one for you. So work on skilling, but that will also going for your iron tools. So work on skilling. That would be definitely a good one for you. And that's also more talent points. Post office, you're probably not quite ready for it. How's your star signs? Do you have at least two star signs? Okay, you have 2 star signs. That's good. So you got Silly Suzer, Big Comatose Gamer, Pirate Booty. So you're at Ned Kelly, which is huge. Okay, you have definitely watched my speed run. Like you 100% have watched my speed run. Because for where you're at right now, you're cooking. You're actually doing really good. I'm very impressed. Obviously, there's not a lot that you can do with that. How's your stamps looking? Your stamps, so you're about 750 at the current time, which is not too bad. You should do some stamp unlocking. Yeah, definitely take the time and unlock some stamps. This will help for your elemental sorcerer damage. Unlock more stamps. Get that going. I would say let's go for a minimum average of 1.5k. Right, you're currently at 750. That's an extra double. I think you can do that no problem. You got a lot of stuff that's easily to be upgradable. I would probably hard focus more on stuff like combat. I mean, you got some extra defense that you could roll in here for some gold. You have buckler. Ooh, you could cook super hard on buckler stamp. You could get mad defense from buckler stamp right now, which would definitely help with your push. How's your bribes looking? You got most of your bribes. I mean, your money hasn't seemed to be an issue just quite yet. All of this is fine for the most part. Let's take a look at your bubbles. Okay, same thing. Just keep on going with your bubbles. You're looking pretty good with your bubbles. Unlock more bubbles. Using Shaman and Bubble Breakthrough talent. It's definitely going to help you a lot in the long term. Okay, and then the things that you're going to want to super focus on the time being is, if you can, get a little bit more in Sploosh Sploosh, get a little bit more in Multi-Logo, get a little bit more in Wyoming Blood. This will help you get a little bit more of multi-ore chance and multi-bug and multi-fish and all that good stuff. That will help you be able to get more 3D prints, because usually at this point in the game right now, your biggest struggle is getting your fruit flies and getting your bloaches. Bloaches is an absolute disaster to farm. You know it, I know it, we all know it. Even getting 3D prints is brutal. But that's when I suggest that you start using bargain tags to save up a lot more as you can. So try to use like 2 bargain tags at 90% a day to put it into more accuracy, because your biggest issue when you're pushing any worlds is going to be 3 things: defense, damage, accuracy. Those are the by far, but the things that pain you most is, although you have low damage and it takes multiple times to kill, it's going to be way worse if you can't even hit it in the first place. So that's definitely, obviously, you're going to still hard farm accuracy and FMJ to about level 40, get those going and starts, and then try to get your bubbles, each bubble, to a minimum of like level 20. Minimum bubble level 20. And this will start getting you in the feeling of doing your 3D prints at a daily basis. Or not a daily basis, but get your 3D prints started. Because that's the biggest thing going forward, is a lot of people ignore 3D prints until it's too late. Skill doing more effective alchemy. Haven't unlocked bargain tag yet? No. So, well, skill dimwit does affect alchemy level, because if it loses skill XP, right? So you are losing it. So you should take off skill dimwit whenever you're not doing anything. If you're doing something like trying to farm ore or something, you run skill dimwit. But if they're just progressing or whatever, take off skill dimwit. Your vials are looking good. Definitely not too bad. You're definitely working on your vials, getting your bubo damage up. Excellent. You love to see that. Some are obviously going to take longer than others. Arcade shop. Arcade shop definitely doesn't hurt to start leveling. I don't think we really have the nice stuff we want. We have the drop rate. The wisdom is going to be good for accuracy, which is always nice. But I mean, even base damage is going to be cooking as well. I mean, you don't need to worry about sigils yet. You got Trash Island, you got Shimmer Island, you got both the good islands. Fantastic. Let's see how your printer is looking. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You're doing a lot of stuff right. I am actually thoroughly impressed of how you're cooking right now. You have exactly what you need for fishing. You have your logs cooking, and they're actually at a decent level like where you're currently at. You're cooking for FMJ. Accuracy, FMJ, looking good. We got this cooking as well. You're almost ready to start working into Dementia armor. Okay, and it looks like you only have 4 spots, so I would also, while you're at it, keep a good job. Keep on working on your 3D prints. The only thing that I would make a suggestion for is get more refinery prints. Start accumulating. You want to start accumulating the prints for refinery specifically, because that's where you start hitting a big issue, is where you start getting into, you know, the green salts, the blue salts, that's when stuff starts slapping you in the face. So having the green mushrooms is good, but also having the other stuff for refinery as we go into here, like making sure you have the Giga Frog horns, making sure you have the sandy pots. You know, you already have the base flies and the base, but you just want to keep this cooking as much as possible, because the more salts you have cooked, the easier it becomes later on in the game, because there's 3 types. You'll get water locked, and then you'll get salt locked, and then you'll get soul locked. Those are like some of the 3 biggest time gates in the game. So you want to make sure that if you get on top of it as soon as possible, you'll be gated a lot less, and then you'll be able to progress sooner. Obviously, you got nothing in the atom collider, nothing going in the. Let's take a look. What do you have? So you just need 1 more for the 3D printer. You can go ahead and get that done. Library, Death Note. Death Note's a huge one. Death Note is super big. Go ham on Death Note building. This is just going to give you more multi-kill. Automation arm is super helpful as well. You want to go for the little bit of the automation arm. Doesn't hurt. Your boulder roller's level 10. You don't quite have pink salts yet, so you can't go Poisonic Elder. So what I would suggest is get to boulder roller. Get it to level 20. Boulder roller level 20 is a good starting point where we'll actually start pushing more waves, because it's being able to upkeep and damage. And then the ones that you also want to focus is get Kraken as soon as possible. Kraken's a big difference when it comes to party defense. And then start leveling party, because this makes it cheaper. Party, Frozen, and then you want to unlock Kraken as soon as possible. Unlocking Kraken ASAP is going to help push things such as the Snowman map for tower defense. Also, things like Acorn Assault is super huge. Frosty Firefight is what I'm talking about. Basically, any map, Krakens is great, but you need Krakens if you're going to expect yourself to do anything within Frosty Firefight, or else you're going to be hard stuck like wave 10 or 11 is where a lot of people get hard stuck. It's definitely there. So if we go to totems here, yeah, and you haven't attempted a wave, so you got 53 on goblins, which is good. 45 on Waka Waka, 28 on Acorn Assault. I would try to even attempt to just get a level 11. Yes, you need green salts first. That's something that you're working towards. That's why I suggested you to get your refinery prints for your to start pushing closer and closer to getting green salts. I mean, I wouldn't really even attempt Frosty Firefight until you get to the max wave of, because then you can start pushing like 11 on that. Prayers, you have level 5 skill dimwit. This is one of your biggest ones, so definitely take this off whenever you're doing something else that's not skilling, so then you keep on building the alchemy. For trapping, I would what is your beginner trapping? Now, do you have you do have, right? Yeah, you have one. You have one trapper drone, so then you can do this trick as well. So what you want to do is, if you have balloons, if you have balloons and or pearls, you want to use balloons and try to push to a level 20 trap, or is level 40 trapping. So then you can get nature traps. I believe it's level 40 for nature traps. Can you correct me on that, chat? What level does he need for nature traps? Anyways, you're going to need nature traps, because then once you get your maestro, then you can use transfusion and you can start pushing everybody's trapping, since you already have trapping drone. So you definitely want to unlock nature traps. Nature traps. And then farm XP, 25 trapping, 40 anvil. Thank you. 40 anvil, 25 trapping. Unlock it, and that's super easy to do with balloons. And farm, you could just go to like the frogs map and stand there and just click and hold balloons, and that will give you a ton of XP. And farm XP with Maestro with transfusion. Now, I also got a message the other day on the second channel. People are like, okay, so Griffy, you say farm XP with Maestro with transfusion. What does that mean? So you have an active ability that you have to equip on your bar for the Maestro tab. It is called Transfusion. And what does it do? It knocks your efficiency to little to negligible amounts, but it rewards you with tons of skill XP. Now, why is this good? Well, there's a couple of things that don't require efficiency in order to get a lot of XP for. Example, trapping when you're going for nature traps because they don't reward you with critters. So efficiency is nobody cares about efficiency when it comes to nature traps. So then you want to run transfusion to give you all that extra XP, all that extra skill XP. And since you have Trapper Drone, you can do one character to place traps for all your characters. So what you could do is pop transfusion and then place it on every other character in that trap, and then they all get the same transfusion XP buff since you did it on your Maestro, so they all level up super fast at the same time. You can also do this when crafting for Anvil. This will help you push levels super, super quickly, like especially if you're getting to a point where you're doing thread with transfusion, and then you do, and then once you get to the point where you start making critter num-nums and making soulable gum is going to be your next big boost of XP. And that's when you collect, because what it does is when Maestro places with transfusion, it snapshots, okay? So it snapshots the whole stats of what you did when you're placing. And then when you're collecting, the only thing matters when you're collecting is shiny chance. That's the only thing that gets accumulated when you collect. But when you place, what matters is efficiency and XP. So that's why you want to unlock nature traps. So I thought I'd just answer that question because the other person that asked wasn't actually 100%. So you want to collect on Maestro, and then you could collect on BM. It doesn't matter. So here's what you do. For XP, you want to place it on Maestro. For critters, you want to place all your traps with Beastmaster, because Beastmaster gets the most efficiency for critters. So keep that in mind. Salt Lick, looking good. Start working on high. This is something that you always want to work on. Getting to closer and closer to the 90% on 3D prints. That's definitely something you want to do. Seems like you're looking pretty good on this. There's not much that you could do here. This is going to be eventually a very good one to invest into, especially when you need to start working towards getting your souls, because you don't want to be soul locked right away. And then obviously the multi-kill would be nice as well, but that's not something that we're too worried about. Now, you have just gone to World 4, and you're just starting to get your elite classes. So we go egg, corn dog, cabbage, but you're not quite there yet. So you just want to keep on cooking and just start unlocking new stuff. You unlock all this new stuff up to get cabbage. This is going to be ideal. Now I have in the Discord, in the idle index specifically, there is a Google Doc that will show you all the best setups while pushing for breeding, so you're not wasting your time. So then you want to hard farm each of those, and it'll give you not only the best setups for pet battles and arena, it will also give you the best setups for spice collection. So you go into the idle index in our Discord, the Itty Bitty Army Discord, and then you go into World 4, because that's where breeding is, and then you click on the revamped pet territory battle Google Doc, and it will give you exactly what you need to go look. Because the thing is like we would have to go into a very big spiel of how you're going to make this work. But right now, you're kind of just waiting for cooking on egg, and then corn dog and cabbage, and then you're going to start working on going towards Diamond Chef, which is going to be the next upgrade after that. And then soda, cherries, don't worry about that. That's farther down the line. So with breeding as well, I mean, this like I said, follow that and that'll help you. So with lab, to make your life easier, what I would strongly suggest is you want to push on your Divine Knight, okay? A lot of people say, why push on Divine Knight? Isn't ES better? ES is better if you're a AFK player, person that doesn't play a lot, person that doesn't leave it like a wallpaper engine. If you're active, it's Divine Knight, because one talent point on your Divine Intervention will give you a respawn mechanic. It gives you 100% potency of that respawn mechanic. And not to mention, he uses a small amount of mana, because you can have his auto attacks have a chance to cast Shockwave Slash. And that does not cost mana whenever that procs. So that is huge just alone, just for progression, and it's great for wave clearing. Now, what I suggest is start getting everybody in lab until they reach Killer Brightside. Now, once they get to a point where they reach Killer Brightside, then you can just swap people out to get all your elite classes as soon as possible. Once you have everybody elite classes, that's when you take your Divine Knight and boom, you shoot straight for the moon. You go as far as you can, as fast as you can, building defense, accuracy, and damage, and just start going, and that will zoom you to World 5 if you're willing to just actively farm this. If you're not willing to, if you can't actively farm, or if your computer can't help it, or if you're on a mobile device, then that's when you're going to start working as an AFK build and start working through Elemental Sorcerer. Elemental Sorcerer's damage, the positive to an Elemental Sorcerer compared to a DK is Elemental Sorcerer gets more AFK kills. Not only that, it's easier to build his damage because instead of Refinery ranks, you're building off Stamp Collection. So definitely, once you start doing the Stamp Collection, you're going to be easy to build a lot of damage. But the problem is you don't want to actively farm, because not only do you have to put a lot of points into Dimensional Wormhole to be worth it, Wormhole mobs do not count as portals. So even if you kill a bunch of Wormhole mobs for respawn, it doesn't matter because it doesn't count towards it. It's a waste of time. So that's why I suggest DK for active, ES for AFK. So depending on your playstyle, that's what you do. But regardless, you still want to reach Killer Brightside for 2 times kills. This will make your life much easier when pushing going forward. So I think for right now, I think I gave you more than enough to work on at this time. Obviously, I didn't write down everything that I said, but this is something just to get you started. Because I don't want to because you've only been playing for 2 months. So for a 2-month player, I got to say, for a 2-month player, I am very impressed. This is a very, very impressive account of just being able to like maintain and understand of where you're going for just 2 months. Most people don't get this far in 2 months. So what I would suggest to work on is iron tools, get your glacial weapons, get your serrated Rex rings, finish those off, get your bludgeons for your necklace, if you're running a DK, or if you want to do the Camrock pendant, which is also very good for accuracy. Work on Maestro. I think you're more than ready to get your Maestro done. Get him done as soon as possible. Don't run. I wouldn't suggest running Skill Dimwit though. Get your elite classes. A lot of your characters don't have elite classes now. That's something that gets done. But remember, try to get Killer Brightside first, and don't level up. Don't bother leveling up Lab. You'll work on Lab when you hit World 5. Your main priority, your only priority is to get to Killer Brightside. You're close to card farming. You're really close to card farming with your Elemental Sorcerer. You could probably get pretty close to start doing that. And if you're going to do any card farming or decide that you want to card farm, you want to focus Gigafrods, Snellbees, and Sur Stashes first before you do anything else, because at least to 3 stars. Work on skilling. You need work on skilling. That goes the same with your iron tools. This is free talent points. You want to do that absolutely. Another thing I want to work on is probably going to be, let's see, before we continue here, just want to double check. Yes, Flare Bows. Flare Bows is massive. This is absolutely what you want to do. Weapon power is going to be huge for you. Talent points gives 1 point in each tab, so you definitely want to keep on boosting it up. You have 13 booster runs. You could take that easy peasy. You probably just save up for that as well. So, you know, do your party dungeons, get farther in Flare Bows. This is going to be massive for you. If you haven't joined a guild, join a guild. Guilds are great for account bonuses. Super solid for weapon power. Strongly suggest. Unlock more stamps for 1.5k. Go for an average of 1.5k stamps. Focus more on damage because you're trying to progress. You're not trying to get prints or anything like that. So you're going to want a hard push on mostly combat. And then you have your other stamps to help with your wizard damage as well. Unlock more bubbles using Shaman and Bubble Breakthrough. Your alchemy is looking, you're like one of the only people that pay attention to alchemy for this far into this account. So just keep on paying attention. Just keep on unlocking your bubbles, doing your vials, like trying to unlock each vial every day, unlocking your bubbles, but just make sure you're always doing it on Bubble Shaman with Bubble Breakthrough. Even if you have to use a second preset, just do it that way. I would suggest going for a minimum bubble level 20, just so you get the ideology. Okay, I want to go in increments. I don't want to try to hard focus 1 or 2 bubble until you get to that point where you can just hard focus 1 or 2 bubbles. And then obviously Shakracy, FMJ, push it to like 40 to 50 if you can, because that's for progression's sake. And then Maddie Statford, Bojack, and Britley Spears are going to be nice for your damage percent, just to get that going. Get more refinery prints. Your 3D prints looking fantastic, man. I'm very impressed with your 3D prints. They're nice and high. They're very good. What I would suggest, though, is getting your Beastmasters and maybe another class to start working on refinery prints so you can start progressing your refinery so you don't get salt locked at a later game, because trust me, dude, it sucks. It sucks getting salt locked. We've all been there. We've all done that. Getting salt locked is just as bad as getting soul locked, because we all know Frosty Firefight and getting those Omega Law Souls is just literally just painstaking, and just it keeps you up at night. It's basically the same as my Paralysis Demon. Go ham on Death Note building. You know, higher the death note you have, the more base death, more base multi-kill that you get. More multi-kill means you can push faster. It looks pretty good. And then you start working on death note farming, but you're not quite there yet. Boulder Roller to level 20. This will suffice you until you can unlock Poisonic Elders. You do not have the ability to do that because that requires a different type of salts that you currently don't have. So just get Boulder Lily level 20, which is 9 more levels, and then start leveling Party, Frozen, and then unlock Kraken ASAP because this is going to keep you not locked from a lot of tower defense. And then unlock Nature Traps, farm XP with Maestro with Transfusion. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I did a big explanation about why you want to use specifically Nature Traps or farm XP with Maestro with Transfusion. So if you guys want to know what I was talking about, there will be a little bit earlier into the video. And also do your dungeons to unlock Flurbos. You get those done, that's just a huge boost. And also if you haven't, join a guild. But this is what I suggest for you to do. I'm very proud of you, Toto. This is a very, very good account, and you're on the right way. So good job. Keep on grinding, my dude. And hopefully the next time I hear about your account, it's much, much better. But there you go, my dude.